Thank you for joining me for yet another video. Today's video is the infamous mock class. I made this at the end of March, offensive and defensive separate. I'm doing the same now. This class is looking a little bit different from that one, but not in a bad way. Sure, there might have been a little bit more optimism at that point with guys like Kamari Rogers, Dallin Hayden, Nick Singleton. But still, this class is looking extremely, extremely good, at least on paper. I'm just doing offensive today, like I said in the title. Of course, Steve Angeli, he's going to stick out with this pledge. Really excited about him. Running back, this is where it gets interesting. Gavin Sawchuk is on this list. I was split between him and Singleton. I think Hayden's going to end up a Buckeye. But for some reason, I have a gut feeling Sawchuk is going to end up in the Bend. Really values academics. Really values the Christian values that Notre Dame presents. Oklahoma already have Raleek Brown near 5-star committed and good running with a few other guys. Sawchuk is going to be a priority for Notre Dame, and he can really come in and get meaningful playing time right after Chris Tyree. Of course, Chris Tyree isn't really the starter right now, but looking back in a few years, so we got Kyron Williams this year with an expanded Chris Tyree. You'll see a lot of two running backs in the game for the Irish this fall. Next year, Chris Tyree. Year after that, probably Chris Tyree again. And then you leave it up to Sawchuk, Audric Estime, Logan Diggs, Jadarian Price. We'll see 2023. I expect them to only take one. Hopefully that's a guy like Justice Haynes, who I'm super high on. But Notre Dame is looking extremely good at running back. And Gavin Sawchuk would only add to that. I think he lives up to his number 44 national ranking on Rivals. And right now, I do expect him to end up in the Bend. I went with 3 wide receivers. I've seen 4 wide receivers tossed around since Jordan Johnson left for UCF, but I'm sticking with 3. I included some pretty large groups on the defensive side of the ball, so that is why I went with 3. But I went with Tobias Merriweather, C.J. Williams, and, of course, Amorion Walker. Walker, by the way, was working out with Lawrence Keys, fellow Louisiana native. That was pretty cool. You can check him out on Twitter, on Amorion Walker's Twitter. But Walker is talented. He can play corner. He can play wide receiver. TJ Finley, who actually just transferred to Auburn earlier today, was his old quarterback down in Louisiana, so that's something cool to note. But Walker, I really like him, how he's coming along. Puts on some more weight. I could really see him moving to corner. And being a big-time player there like Cam Hart might be this year, sticking it out at wide receiver. He's 6'4", using that length. Tobias Merriweather is a freak. This dude is an animal. I could see him ending up in the top 80 or 90 when the rankings finish. But I am so high on Tobias Merriweather. Him and C.J. Williams might be better than Lorenzo Styles and Deion Colsey, and I thought that class was damn good. Damn good. But Tobias Merriweather is a talent. I could very well see him ending up like Chase Claypool, who is probably a top 25 or 30 wide receiver in the NFL, if not higher. And C.J. Williams, same thing with him. Ohio State, Texas are 2 to watch here, but I think the Irish are going to get it done. And a wide receiver class of Tobias Merriweather, C.J. Williams, and Amorion Walker, that is absolutely crazy. I can't even say that. That is absolutely berserk. Notre Dame fans got to be excited. Jaden Thomas, Deion Colsey, and Zoe Styles here before too. Just a phenomenal 2 years at wide receiver recruiting. Dell, if you can land Tobias and CJ, I don't know why anyone can give you a hard time. Tight end, Holden States, Eli Raridon. Y'all know that. I'll move on to the offensive line, which is where it gets good. Billy Scrouth is taking official visits to the Ohio State University in Wisconsin. That does raise a little bit of concern. I still think he ends up at Notre Dame. Not too worried about that, but I was a little concerned when I saw that. I thought he was just going to visit Notre Dame and call it quits, call his recruitment quits, commit to Notre Dame, but anything can happen on visits. Tanona and Chan, I expect to both end up at Notre Dame. Tanona has been going ham this offseason. He's looking like a new player. I could see him shoot up the rankings. He doesn't like to go to camps, though, and stuff like that. Doesn't like to be public on social media that much. Is a quiet guy, but if he was more outgoing and went to these camps, promoted himself, really cared about his ranking, which I'm glad he's not. I love players who don't care about their ranking, just want to work, but Notre could easily be a top 100 player. And then Chan, same thing. more quiet guy, doesn't go to all these camps. Did, in fact, go to a camp in Charlotte last weekend, 247 ran, I believe. But that was rare for him. Chan has definitely gained some weight. I think he's at 305 now, which is really impressive. Did not have his junior season, which sucks, but he will have a senior season this fall, and I'm expecting a huge campaign from him. And then two guys that some of you guys might be not expecting to see here, Jake Taylor and Carson Hinzman. I'll start with Taylor. He was in the thumbnail. This is an Alabama-Ohio State Notre Dame duel. But I think once he gets to campus, he's going to see what Notre Dame is all about, and it's going to stand out from Oklahoma and Bama. Bama, he has June 4th weekend. I believe Oklahoma, he is there June 11th weekend. And he goes to Notre Dame for the June 18th weekend, which is absolutely flooded with big-time targets. Nwankpa's there, and Jelly's there. Trying to think who else. Bunch of big targets. And Jake Taylor will be there and will be one of the biggest targets, especially for Jeff Quinn. I think Taylor's going to fall in love with Notre Dame and what it's all about. I really do. So he is on this list. Sure, I could put in guys like Emil Wagner or Zach Rice, George Fitzpatrick even, but going against Brunner from Wisconsin, but I'm sticking with Taylor. And then Carson Hinzman, the last guy. Notre Dame leads here, and they've led for a good bit. I'm actually quite confident they wrap this up this summer. We'll be taking an official visit to Iowa, which kind of surprised me. Wisconsin as well. Ohio State, they have yet to offer, though. And then Bama, he might be checking out. Bama has offered. So a few schools to know, but when push comes to shove, I think Notre Dame will land his signature. He's an early impact guy, can play center, can play guard. I doubt he moves out to tackle. Scrouth is more of a guard. Taylor, a tackle. Tanona can play pretty much everything, guard, tackle, or even center I could see. And then Chan is pretty much an offensive tackle. So you got to love this group of five. If they do end up in Notre Dame, this is the most likely. It's the mock class. I got to make it what is most likely. I'm not trying to be that much of a Notre Dame homer, though, but I love Notre Dame, and I think they can land a big-time class. I hope you guys enjoy. Defense will be tomorrow. I will have D-line, linebackers, and corners and safeties, DBs. That should be fun. Comment, subscribe, like. I appreciate all that stuff, and that is it from me.